When someone you care about begins to pull away or ignore you, it can feel like a sudden shift, like the ground beneath you is no longer solid. It's disorienting. The feeling of being pushed away often triggers a deep sense of vulnerability, rejection, and even confusion. The natural reaction? To chase after them, to beg for answers, or even to lash out in frustration. But here's the reality. How you react in this moment isn't just about repairing the relationship. It's about preserving your dignity, your emotional health, and your sense of self. Stoicism teaches us that the true challenge in life is not in what happens to us, but how we respond to what happens. This moment of distance isn't the end of the road. It's simply a moment to reflect and to grow. Let's dive into the mistakes that you should avoid when someone begins to distance themselves, and how you can choose a path that leads to self-respect and growth. 1. Don't chase them. The instinct to chase after someone who is pulling away is strong, almost overwhelming. You may feel that if you just reach out enough, if you explain your feelings enough, things will get better. But this is often the fastest way to create more distance. When we chase, we create a sense of desperation, a feeling of neediness that is unattractive and ultimately self-sabotaging. Instead, give them space. Trust that time apart can help both of you reflect, recalibrate, and understand what truly matters. In Stoicism, there's a key principle: to act, but not out of panic. Choose deliberate action, not reactive desperation. 2. Don't react with anger. Anger is a powerful emotion, and when someone pulls away, it can feel justified. After all, you've been hurt, confused, and frustrated. But Stoics teach us that anger is like a storm. It disrupts everything in its path, leaving no clarity, no peace. Lashing out in anger will only drive the other person further away and harm your own sense of self-control. Take a deep breath. Step back. In that moment, you have the power to choose calm over chaos. Remember, your response is your power. 3. Don't overthink or obsess. When someone pulls away, the mind often spirals into a whirlwind of what-ifs. You may replay conversations, look for signs, or even assume that something is wrong with you. Overthinking only adds weight to your emotional burden. Instead of obsessing over what you can't control, focus on what you can: your actions, your emotional balance, and your growth. Practice mindfulness. Focus on the present moment, and let go of the stories your mind is trying to create. Stoicism teaches us to live in accordance with reason, not reaction. 4. Don't seek validation through social media. In the age of social media, it's tempting to post something to get their attention or prove that you're fine. But using social media as a tool to manipulate their feelings is not only inauthentic, it's damaging to your self-respect. Authentic relationships aren't built through likes and comments. They're built through face-to-face conversations, honesty, and trust. Instead of posting for their validation, take time to validate yourself. Engage in actions that reinforce your value. Pursue your passions, strengthen your relationships with others, and build your own sense of fulfillment. 5. Don't neglect yourself. It's easy to make someone else the center of your world when they pull away. You may feel that you need to prioritize them over everything else, even your own life. But relationships are not a reason to stop living fully. If you stop growing, you stop being the person they were attracted to in the first place. Focus on your growth, whether that's pursuing a passion, working on your career, or deepening your relationships with others. The most attractive thing you can do when someone pulls away is to continue evolving as a person. Keep building your life, with or without them. 6. Don't try to force communication. When someone distances themselves, the urge to reach out constantly, to fix the situation, is intense. But forcing communication when someone isn't ready often backfires. It makes the other person feel pressured, and can create even more distance. Instead, respect their space. If they want to reconnect, they'll do so when they're ready. In the meantime, work on cultivating your own inner peace. Use this time to reflect, grow, and focus on your own well-being. If and when the time comes to communicate, Do so with clarity and understanding. 7. Don't assume it's over. When someone pulls away, it's easy to think that this is the end. But distance doesn't always mean the relationship is over. Relationships, like seasons, go through cycles. There are moments of closeness and moments of distance, and both are necessary for growth. Don't make the mistake of assuming the worst. Instead of jumping to conclusions, focus on what you can control: your emotions, your actions, and your mindset. Trust the process. Time apart can be an opportunity for both of you to reflect on the relationship and what you truly want. 8. Don't blame yourself. Self-blame is a natural reaction when someone distances themselves. You might think, "What did I do wrong?" Or, "If I had acted differently, this wouldn't have happened." But excessive self-blame does nothing to help the situation. Instead of focusing on what you did wrong, focus on what you can learn. Relationships are complex, and both people contribute to the dynamic. Practice self-compassion. Reflect on the situation, but don't punish yourself. Growth comes from understanding, not guilt.